Governor Walz has been pretty clear in his support for Israel in the past, and we know that. In the past, he has refused to meet with Palestinian families who want to talk about Gaza. He has refused to divest from Israeli bonds and banks, and we know that. We do want to meet with the vice president because she's shown a willingness to learn and to move, and we know that Tim Walz has obviously done a little bit of the same. We know right now, going into November, that we cannot win this election without the nearly 1 million voters who voted alongside us during the primaries. During the primaries, 46,000 Minnesotans voted saying that they wanted the war in Gaza to stop, right? And we know that those people may not even show up to the polls in November. They have no reason to show up if there is no ceasefire and no arms embargo by November.
Look, if he is elected, Donald Trump intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. And he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, there seems to be cracks in Kamala Harris's armor, okay? Because up until now, she has been protected by the media, and the reason why the media is protecting her is because we all know that when Kamala Harris actually speaks, her support drops, okay? And what they're trying to do is trying to make sure that Kamala Harris does not speak or answer any questions or get any type of criticism so that people are as uninformed about her positions as possible. However, that's not going to last for much longer, okay? Because Kamala Harris low-key exposed herself yesterday at a rally in Michigan, one of the Rust Belt states that she desperately needs to win, and also one of these states like Wisconsin that has a large Muslim population of pro-Palestine supporters who have basically told the Democrats that, hey, we're not going to vote for you if you do not get a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, okay? And these people are so serious that they have shown that, listen, we will vote uncommitted. We will not vote for Democrats if you do not do what we want. They have also committed acts of domestic extremism around the country in response to, again, a foreign conflict. It really is a damn shame that this is happening in our country. But regardless, the Democrats apparently got the message, right? So much so that Kamala Harris went out of her way to not choose the Jewish governor of Pennsylvania because they were afraid of the far left backlashing against the Democrat ticket that has a Jew that they perceive to be very pro-Israel.
And I think ultimately, Shapiro, I think fit is important, but, I also think that when you look at the principle of do no harm, maybe they did say, in a state like Minnesota, do we want to, those 100,000 uncommitted voters who came out about the Gaza war, do we want to antagonize those voters? Those are all part of the questions as well.
So, but can I just say,
Tim Walz also spoke conciliatorily towards those people. He said, look, that uncommitted vote is significant and those people should be heard. So having that kind of response, I think, is probably more of an open door to the parts of the party that have been very frustrated with the Democrats.
So, but just to one point on the Gaza war, Shapiro has the same position on Israel that Governor Walz, that Senator Kelly has. He's actually been more critical of Netanyahu than the other two, but he is Jewish,
He's also the face of the crackdown on the protests, right? He spoke very vehemently about those campus protests as being anti-Semitic.
Not all of them. The ones that were anti-Semitic, he criticized as being anti-Semitic.
But he was out front on the issue. So I'm wondering if that's the kind of thing that, again, for the activist wing of the party,
sure, absolutely,
they felt was a slap in the face.
Yeah,
but I also...
Now, here's the thing. Tim Walz also is pro-Israel as well, too, just like all the politicians. Right. But Democrats don't really want you to know that. OK. In fact, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they don't want you to know anything about them. Right. They want to remain as ambiguous as possible when it comes to policy positions. OK. But again, the whole point of Kamala Harris picking Tim Walz is because of the backlash they would have got for picking a Jew to be the vice president. However, Kamala Harris seemed to forget where she was at and what state she was trying to win doing this rally in Michigan, in Detroit. About 15 miles from Dearborn, she decided that it would be a good idea to pull off a strong black woman smackdown on a pro-Palestinian protester at this rally. And let's just say that this didn't really work out too well for Kamala Harris outside of the rally.
He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Vice President Kamala Harris just handled protesters in Michigan like a boss.
I think you can have even worse takes. Don Lemon always surprises me how much worse it can get. Because in that clip, I didn't see someone who was in boss mode. I saw someone who was in prosecutor mode. The kind of mode you go into just says like, I'll lock you up because I don't want to hear what you have to say. And that is not the moment that she needs to be having right now, but it seems to be the mode that she wants to go into. We just came off of a rally in Pennsylvania where they were talking about how we need to get away from divisiveness. Walz continued to talk about joy. And as someone whose entire work is rooted in taking a joy-based approach to transformational change, joy is rooted in community. It is community-centered. And part of community is making room to have difficult conversations. And so what I see is not someone being a boss shutting people down. It's someone who's scared that they do not have the ability to have a tough conversation. And a conversation that needs to be had way before we enter November and go to the polls. And that is a conversation that so many of us doing activist work around Palestine are trying to make sure is going to happen so we can clarify things. So instead of being on TikTok, an app that they want to ban, making all these videos to trending sounds, brats, coconuts, all the works, I need you to sit down and actually be based in community. Actually hear people out. Instead of saying, I'm talking, say, I hear you, I see you, we need to talk about this. Right now,
if you think this is some sort of cool, epic clapback moment, I don't even know what to say to you. This is just a disgusting and bad faith response to people protesting a genocide. Genocide which is being enabled not by Donald Trump, but by the government that Kamala Harris represents. The crowd was cheering for like a minute, by the way. It's just depressing. Donald Trump is horrible, but please don't allow yourself to be brainwashed by memes and PR. Kamala Harris is a war criminal and a pretty fucking condescending one at that.
Yeah, so Kamala Harris is getting a lot of backlash for this fake strong black woman moment at this rally in Michigan because politically speaking, that was very dumb, right? It was very, very, very dumb, especially considering how there's a lot of speculation that Kamala Harris went out of her way to not pick a Jew for VP because she did not want to upset the base, just for her to turn around a few days later and to basically tell a pro-Palestinian protester in Michigan, 15 miles away from Dearborn, hey, shut up or else you want Trump to win. Now, this would have been fine if, again, Kamala didn't go out of her way to try to get the support of these people, right, by not picking Josh Shapiro. If she would have picked Josh Shapiro and she would have done that, I'm not really making this video right now because it's like, okay, well, hey, she's showing the far left that we don't really need your support, right? That we don't care, okay? And hey, it is what it is, but she's already shown that, yes, we do care, and I am trying to get your vote. So for you to try to pull that stunt on a pro-Palestinian protester who is protesting what they perceive to be genocide, while at the same time, again, going out of your way to form your ticket based off getting their vote, to them, this is essentially a mask off moment because Kamala Harris is showing, and she's basically saying, listen, if you don't get on board with my agenda, don't worry about what it is. I don't have to answer any questions about what it is or what I'm going to do. I don't have to make any promises to you. You don't need to know why I actually stand on any of the issues, right? If you don't get on board with the vibes and the feelings and the joy, then you must want Trump to win, right? She's basically telling those people that she's trying to get their vote, shut up or else you want Trump to win, right? Shut up and vote for me or else you want Trump to win. That's not a winning message, right? That is one of the worst things that you can say, and she's getting a whole lot of backlash for this, okay? You have Nina Turner. She says, people are in a lot of pain. They want the death and destruction in Gaza to end. Death and destruction our government is funding. This response is inappropriate and lacks empathy. People do not want Trump to win. They want the genocide to end. This person says, we have our answer, ladies and gentlemen. Even genocide should be ignored as long as Trump doesn't win. If this isn't a red line for you, you're not a leftist. To be honest, you're barely effing human. This is indefensible. This person, Karen Atia, says, labeling people who are righteously angry over mass slaughter as Trump supporters or as wanting him to win is unhelpful, dismissive, and frankly lazy. Everyone do better. Qasim Rashid, he says, this was a golden opportunity to show empathy to people in deep pain because their family is suffering torture, famine, displacement, and genocide. They don't want Trump to win. They want the suffering to stop. Don't push them away. Invite them in. She should remedy this ASAP. Gabrielle A. Perry says, ain't heard a mother effing campaign promise yet. And the first thing she says is everybody shut the F up and fall in line. This is what the F y'all was sending me death threats over and telling me to get excited about. F y'all. Again, some people are understanding what's going on here, right? Some people are understanding the psyop, right? They don't want to tell you any positions, okay? She definitely doesn't want to tell you any positions on this issue because Kamala Harris knows there is no fine line on this issue, okay? You either are with the pro-Palestinian supporters in the sense that you want a ceasefire and you're going to do what it takes to get a ceasefire no matter what, or else you're the enemy, according to them, right? You're pro-genocide. And if she openly aligns herself with the pro-Palestinian protesters, right, to the point where it seems like she is against the interest of Israel, then she will be accused of anti-Semitism. And she probably will lose a lot of Jewish support, mainly money, right, over her taking the side of the pro-Palestinian protesters. So again, there is no middle ground here. And both options are really not good options for Kamala Harris. This is why she's not trying to pick a side.
It's intentional. She has no intention of putting any policy out there until this convention's over. I'm a very fortunate guy because I'm an investor, and for decades I've been syndicating debt, primarily for real estate. Some of her closest advisors are people I work with in finance. And we're friends. So I call them up and say, hey, listen, you want to talk about policy here? And they said, listen, everything's working right now. We're going to strong-arm the press on policy. We don't need to do anything.
Wait. What's everything's working?
The momentum's crazy. The press she's getting right now, she is sucking.
Her campaign.
The campaign.
Okay.
The campaign is working.
Okay.
And there's no reason to sit down with any journalist and talk policy right now because we're in the euphoric stage. They think they can raise up to $300 million before this whole thing that's going to happen over the weekend is over. So that's extraordinary amount of money. Then it's time to talk policy. Then it's time to go to the center. Then it's time to talk about border.
All right. So are they telling you where she stands?
No, they're just saying, listen, we don't worry about this right now. We don't have a problem. No problem here, Houston. We're just raising dough. And you got to hand it to her. They're now talking within that campaign about a path to winning that they didn't even see 8 days ago.
right? This is why she's not trying to talk. She's not trying to say anything. But this right here most certainly was a slip up that, again, kind of was a mask off moment in the eyes of the leftists. Now, again, Kamala Harris is vice president. She has not been able to achieve a ceasefire. Her administration has not been able to do anything about what's going on in the Middle East right now. So I'm not sure exactly why these people would support Kamala Harris, thinking that she's going to do something that she hasn't done yet. But hey, she is trying not to take any real positions, any policy positions, because again, the goal is to remain ambiguous. It's not to say anything and to make no promises to anybody except on abortion. Again, promises that they know they're not going to keep, but their base is too ignorant, too stupid, right, to realize that they can't actually really codify Roe v. Wade into law. It's not actually going to happen. But again, they don't know that, right? They had no clue. Okay, so again, this is the game that they're playing. Kamala Harris is not talking for a reason. And one of the reasons why is because this is what happens when she talks. She puts her foot in her mouth and she doesn't realize that, hey, if the whole point of you rejecting Josh Shapiro was to win states like Michigan and Wisconsin, it's probably not a good idea to piss off the people that you're trying to win over in Michigan and Wisconsin by pulling this stunt, right? There was probably a better way that you could have handled that if you actually wanted these people votes. Now, I get it. They were heckling. They were making a lot of noise. I understand it, but you got to understand, these are the people that you are in bed with, right? That the Democrat Party is in bed with. Okay, this guy, Raphael Shimunov, says, I guess Kamala isn't interested in winning Michigan because insulting people opposing genocide of their own families this way in Detroit is going to haunt you. Now, this could be the beginning of a lot of people opening their eyes, at least on the left, and saying, okay, what am I signing up for here? What exactly am I getting by voting for Kamala Harris? Because a lot of people don't know. And people are now going to start demanding answers, okay, because of moments like this, where people are saying, wait, hold on. You're telling me if I don't get on board with an agenda that I don't know about, I have no clue what you want to do, then that must mean that I support Trump. And I'm telling you right now, that's not going to work, right? Because after all the flowery bullshit wears off, Trump derangement is not going to be enough to get these people on board with something that, again, they think is a genocide. And when you're talking about the presidential race potentially coming down to the Rust Belt states of Michigan and Wisconsin, and what will probably be razor thin margins, you can't afford to lose these votes, right? Democrats can't afford to lose these votes. So again, what Kamala really did there was expose herself in a way that a lot of people are now saying, wait, hold on. Let's calm down real quick with the hype train. What do you actually believe, right? What are your actual policy positions? Nobody knows. Because again, what she's running on is, well, I'm not Trump. That's the whole campaign. And for some people, it will be enough. But for other people who actually really are passionate about issues, who aren't so Trump deranged that they're going to line up and just vote for whatever just because they hate Trump, it's not going to be enough, right? And again, everybody knows that. The media knows that. This is why they're hiding Kamala Harris. This is why they're not demanding that Kamala Harris answer any questions or asking any questions about her policy positions or what she believes, because they know that as soon as she starts to talk, the more she talks, the more she gets off script, stuff like this happens, right? Again, this campaign, the Kamala Harris campaign, really is a house of cards, okay? It is built on a very, very, very weak foundation of Trump derangement. Trump derangement is not a strong foundation. It's something that worked in 2020, okay? I think partly because of the pandemic, but I think now in 2024, I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be enough considering the current environment that we're in, but that's the strategy, right? I mean, Kamala Harris is quite literally copying, pasting the campaign strategy of Biden in 2020 and trying to do that in 2024. So what you guys are seeing here is that there are in fact cracks in the armor, okay? And the far left, they're demanding the same things that they were demanding of Joe Biden. They're demanding that of Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris doing that, in my opinion, to them signals that, okay, we actually really have to ask questions. We have to actually press her on this issue. We can't continue to allow her to just run this campaign of not answering any questions or taking any policy positions on anything because of Trump. That's not going to work, at least with some people, okay? Now, again, will it be enough to affect the outcome of the election? We really don't know. But again, I'm telling you guys, this strategy of let me hide in the basement and don't question me unless you want Trump to win, that ain't gonna fly, right? That is not going to fly, at least with certain groups of people. And this is not the only issue that Kamala Harris needs to answer questions about in regards to where she's at. There's a whole bunch of issues that she needs to answer questions on that she has not answered. And I just don't think that she's going to be able to hold out for 90 plus days without actually really elaborating on what she believes. And we know when she actually elaborates on what she believes, when she actually starts to talk, she loses support. So we'll see. We'll see. I think this is the beginning. Okay, you're starting to see the honeymoon wearing off just a little bit. We also have the DNC coming up. These protesters will be at the DNC. In fact, Democrats are afraid to hold the DNC in person, okay, because they don't like the optics of all these protesters being at the DNC demanding a ceasefire. Yeah, this is a very tough situation for Kamala Harris. I just don't think that she has the political skill set, the finesse to be able to walk the fine line on this issue. I don't think she's going to be able to do it for a vast majority of issues that she needs to answer questions about. But up until this point, the media has helped her do it. But again, you're seeing in an off-the-cuff moment from Kamala Harris, she basically has pissed a lot of people off. And, you know, this is exactly why we have to get her to talk, right? This is why she needs to start talking. The quicker that Kamala Harris starts talking, the faster her campaign will implode, okay? Because the whole, well, if you don't support me, then you must want Trump to win. That shit is not going to fly with a lot of people. It's not going to work with a lot of people in this country. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.